to. In football, for sure.
Yeah.
Football, they have to make a team.
And League of Their Own. I just watched that.
League of Their Own's good. You remember Blindside? They made the guy look like basically retarded.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That did not age well.
That did not age well at all.
Yeah, nobody likes the family anymore. The Tuohys.
Here's the problem.
But they made that guy seem like he was pretty stupid, and
Right.
he was a football star.
Here's the whole problem with that whole thing, though, and I'm not saying it's anyone's fault necessarily. The courts will figure that out. The issue here is that how did this guy not get any money?
Because he's stupid.
No one's
confirmed.
Dude.
Blindside was real. He is an idiot.
Dude.
Yeah.
How can you not? How could
You know
not?
what I mean, though? Like, how can you
He trusted him.
You're
That was
literally
why.
the star
Yeah.
and the main focus of not a huge film or whatever.
It was pretty. It was like an Academy Award winner.
It obviously was a very
Now
got a
it
lot of
won.
money.
It won because Sandra Bullock was in there, and she did a great job. And I think that put
Forgot about Sandra.
the movie together. It was really Sandra Bullock's acting skills as Mrs. Toohey or whatever her name was.
For about like 8 years, Sandra Bullock was like a powerhouse in
She
Hollywood.
really great. Yeah.
Dude, Sandra's been killing it for years.
Yeah, she has.
Started with Speed,
Yeah.
going down the list, became a romantic interest.
Is Speed #1? Is that their first big hit? Is that like what put her on the map?
I would imagine so. It could be some other chick flick,
Pull it
but
up.
I'm pretty sure Speed put Sandra on the map. Doesn't put Keanu on the map.
Keanu for sure. He's a good one.
First big movie. Let's see.
Sandra Bullock.
It's got to be Speed.
This guy can't type over here.
Then again, I'm not that old.
Speed. Yeah. I mean, she was probably.
She co-starred in the opposite of Tate Donovan in a romantic comedy Love Potion #9 in 1992.
Okay. I never saw that.
I would have been 4. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of movies that are older than me, Terminators and things, but never seen that one.
Her first major exposure was Demolition Man in 1993.
Demolition Man was a good one.
I mean,
is that her
technically,
first major one with, who are the people that are in that?
Bruce Willis.
No.
I got you.
That's not Demolition Man?
No. Is it
crap,
Sylvester?
That's the Sixth Element or whatever.
Is it Stallone?
It's Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes.
I was about to say Wesley
Everything
Snipes.
is in the future, dystopian future. Everything's Taco Bell. Taco Bell won the franchise
It's like
wars.
the Orwellian.
Yeah.
Dude,
Salt is outlawed. They don't have sex anymore. They do, something else. They don't use toilet paper. They use the 3 shells.
Taco Bell and
No, they never
sex.
explained.
I don't know,
They never
man.
explained the 3
They
shells.
don't do contact greetings.
My favorite. Yeah, no contract greetings where you just like raise your hand. My favorite was actually whenever they cuss, they say fuck or something. And it's like, you've been fined 1 credit. I'm like, that's the future we're looking at right there. It's like, they don't know. You can't put salt on your food. You can't eat this. No, you can't say the F word. That's, I think that's the future we're heading towards. So that, or it's just orgies and, drugs and everything. Just, everything bad in the world.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah. It's one of the two.
No in between.
Yeah.
So,
It's actually the difference between 1984 and A Brave New World. The 2 dystopian novels of the future. One of them, 1984. Orwellian, future was very controlled. Big Brother watched everything you did.
Yeah, that's the one everyone
They
thinks
used
of.
fear to control people, didn't let them access information, didn't let them talk, things like that. He was afraid the government would control everybody. Where Aldous Huxley, I think that's how you say his name, he had the opposite view. He thought that everything was going to be so pleasurable in the future that nobody was going to give a fuck about the truth and that they were just going to distract everybody with pharmaceuticals and pleasure. And I'm like, it's pretty much A Brave New World. It's not Orwell. I think
there
Huxley
are some
was the one.
Orwellian factors.
They would love to be Orwell,
Yeah.
I think, but I think their smarter move, if they're right, is actually pleasure.
Yeah.
Because we will.
Probably a mix of both, right? I mean, what's the old saying, give them like 1 peanuts or like circus, whatever it is, entertainment. Like,
Oh, yeah. The bread and circus.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Give them like bread. And,
You give them bread and you give them circus, entertainment and food.
Yeah, that's what
They
I
don't
mean,
care
yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give everybody just an unlimited amount of weed, Everybody just goes into straight pleasure zone.
Hey, that goes into one of the topics we will be discussing later on today, but we have one before that.
Wow, that was such a natural segue. He slammed me down on
It
that.
was a great
Denied.
segue, but it wasn't.
I was trying to make this natural, Brock, but we're going to talk about weed later, guys. Not now.
We had such a good one with the movies, and then you just tried to take over there.
My bad.
So our first topic we have today is top Christmas movies.
Okay.
I took it on myself to be festive for this.
Is this like a top 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to do any particular order because I personally can't, but we got, everything we need today to be festive over here.
Elf Crocs.
Just
Crocs.
Brock. It's not even December, Brock.
It is when this episode comes out. So
Okay. Yeah, it'll be December. It's December.
Of course,
it's next week, guys.
Yeah.
December 1st. The first day of December is when this episode drops. So
Alright.
so we were getting festive on the first day of December.
True that.
So if you're talking Christmas movies, I feel like the conversation starts with Home Alone.
Home Alone's got to be your all-time Christmas classic number one. Does anything beat Home Alone?
I feel like you're really
Other than Home Alone 2?
Oh,
yeah.
Lost in New York was a great one.
Shout out to Donald Trump in the lobby there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
They tried to edit him out.
I feel like you're really reaching. Obviously, everyone's personal opinion,
of course,
in some regard, but Home Alone's got to be at least in everyone's top 3, if not number 1. It's a Wonderful Life is super sad.
It's a Wonderful Life is a great one. I'll watch that every year.
I would definitely put that in my top 5.
I put it in top 5 also. Yeah.
I don't know,
Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life. Elf is in there for sure. Elf is one of my favorites of all time.
Will Ferrell's.
He did. I hate Will Ferrell. I hate Will Ferrell so much in most movies, and he did such a phenomenal job in Elf. I don't even care. I just love him.
See, I'm a National Lampoon's Family Holiday kind of guy.
No thanks.
Some Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Is it Chevy or is it Chevy?
I think it's Chevy.
I think it's Chevy Chase.
I think it's Chevy.
Is it Chevy or Chevy?
I think Chevy is the vehicle, and Chevy
is the brand of motor vehicle.
Yeah, and Chevy.
But what else would he have been named after?
I don't know. Great question. I don't know.
There's a lot of names that are not based off anything.
There's a lot of people that are named after things that they just pronounce it wrong.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think it's Chevy. I'm gonna go with Chevy.
Okay. All right.
Okay. It's a bold strategy.
I hope this is the episode that blows up.
With my 53rd Meridian mentality, I'm gonna go with Chevy.
Yep.
So,
yep. Okay. So
suits you.
I would not put that in my top 5.
No.
Really?
No, I don't put any Chevy Chase in my top 5. He's fine. I like him, but he's not a top 5 guy.
A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out. That's definitely.
That's a classic, but is it one I want to watch?
It's a little dated, perhaps, but we got to bring it up at least.
I'll put it in the top. I'll put it in the top 10. I don't know if it'd be my top 5. I would consider my top 5 ones I would want to watch this year. If Christmas Story comes in, I'm not sure I want to watch a Christmas Story this year.
I'll
watch
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, that's in top 5.
Love me some Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way is in there. So I got 4, right? Out of 5?
We're pretty much there.
Yeah.
Do you guys like a Charlie Brown Christmas?
No, fuck Charlie Brown.
I hate that. I just wanted to.
Charlie Brown is the worst of the worst. I mean, I really can't think of something I don't want to watch more than Charlie.
I definitely don't hate Charlie Brown, but I don't have the.
Fucking hate Charlie Brown.
You guys.
I fucking hate Charlie Brown.
It's the worst. I've never been able to like Charlie Brown at all.
Was your dad like a Charlie Brown fan?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. Nicole grew up watching Charlie Brown. My wife grew up watching Charlie Brown. And she hates it too. So
it's hilarious.
What about the Grinch? Do you like the original Grinch better or the cartoon Grinch? Because I'm an OG Grinch kind of guy. That goes in my top 5.
Wait, so is he saying the cartoon came after?
Yes.
I think the cartoon's the OG, my friend.
Yeah, I think the cartoon's the original one.
Yeah.
The cartoon came.
They may have done a second cartoon or something.
Well, yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay. What?
With Benedict Cumberland.
Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch, whatever. Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I've never even seen it, and that's
Benedict Cucumber.
No, you're talking. There's a really old animated Grinch.
Yes,
and then there's a lot of different versions of it, and then they did a feature film with Jim Carrey.
Not Mike Myers.
Who was Cat in the Hat?
Yeah, I got confused.
Did you correct that?
Rob's wife.
I haven't told my wife that yet. So
I hope
if you're listening, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Vanessa.
Mike Myers is the Cat in the Hat.
Mike Myers, just a terrible take. I still. Just a terrible take, Mike Myers. So.
Yeah, it's we thought the Grinch was Mike Myers and not Jim Carrey. So
yeah, that's okay. He was the Cat in the Hat. Austin Powers, he's great at
Mike Myers is awesome.
Do I make you horny, baby?
No, you don't. And not your wife after this either. She's going to hate you for talking about her. So.
I'm in the doghouse again.
I will absolutely always have a soft spot in my heart for the old claymations.
No.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Never.
The original,
I love those.
original How the Grinch Stole Christmas cartoon you're talking about came out in 1966.
Yeah, dude.
How the fuck was I supposed to know?
We grew up watching that before Jim Carrey made his movie.
Really?
Yeah. So that was what we grew up with.
That was the Grinch for us.
That was the Grinch.
Yeah.
So do you like the cartoon or Jim Carrey better?
Jim Carrey.
I just don't like the Grinch.
But it's not a movie that I'm going to be like. It's not a movie I want to watch this year.
Yeah.
So it's not a top 5.
Really?
No. I will definitely watch Rudolph.
My kids might watch it.
One. You guys are
no.
You guys
Do you like
check
the
that out.
miser, heat miser, and cold miser? That one is that the same?
No, that's dude. I'm talking about the one with Yukon Cornelius.
What
I
about
don't-
Santa buddies?
No.
Burl Ives.
the dog one?
Yeah.
No,
Badass.
no thanks.
Um,
So we got Home Alone, Elf, It's a Wonderful Life, and the last one, Jingle,
Jingle
All
All
the
the
Way.
Way.
We're missing one more.
I'll
What is it?
definitely add
Grinch.
Rudolph in for
It's not the
myself.
Grinch.
You can add in the Grinch if you want.
Yeah.
For making the ultimate list, though, I don't know. Is there a new one that we're missing? Is there any like new good ones?
Man, he
Brock,
said
you
something
got
about like 4 Christmases.
Four
and things.
Christmases is really good of Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's not that good.
I
He's
liked
just got
it.
bad
I
taste.
believe you, but I don't. Is this like a classic for everyone?
Like
or for you?
it's for everyone. I think it's hilarious. So
I saw it.
I'll give you a little.
I
I'll
don't
give you a
remember
little.
much.
I'll give you
Yeah.
a storyline just so we're on the same page.
Make it snappy.
Okay, so it's a couple who is afraid to get married and they always skip Christmas.
Who's he dating?
It's Vince Vaughn and God,
Is it the girl from that 70s show? Is that who it is?
No,
Okay.
I don't even watch that 70s show. If I'm being honest, like I think that show
Just
sucks.
spilled my drink all over.
Is it? No, what? I thought it was somebody else than this.
Mila Kunis is who I was thinking of.
I think it's
Uh,
Reese Witherspoon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Reese Witherspoon.
Not even close.
of course, it's Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, so
yeah, I don't.
Reese Witherspoon was fantastic.
You know, actually, I
And
know
Legally
the
Blonde.
answer to this one, and it's a shame we haven't brought it up. I know if anyone's listening right now, they've at least thought of it. Die Hard.
Die Hard. Yeah, the Die Hard's just a classic.
I don't even
one that-
consider it a Christmas movie, and I'm willing to put it in there just at least for the conversation.
Do I want to watch it this year though? Not really. Not
It's-
really.
Yeah, I don't know. Alan
He
Rickman's-
kills Snape, and it just makes me sad. So.
Yeah, well, Snape's
dead in real life now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Die Hard.
I'm not gonna say it's overrated, but like you should see it.
You know his best film though, right?
Bruce Willis's
No.
best film?
No.
Who?
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman?
Yeah, what's his best film? I hope I'm talking about the right person.
Yeah, it's Alan Rickman.
Okay.
I mean, I know that was his first film, which is like a big trivia question all the time.
Yeah. No, I've got it. You know what it is?
I
I'll give you a hint if you need it.
sure.
By Grabthar's hammer, you shall be avenged.
No.
Nothing at all. Huh? Okay. All right. That's disappointing. It's Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You should
Yeah.
rewatch Galaxy Quest.
I'll
Like,
take your word for that.
That's a really good one. It's not Christmas, just off topic.
That's fair.
Galaxy Quest. If you've never seen Galaxy Quest, you should see Galaxy Quest.
All
Tim
right.
Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman.
What a cast.
What about Tim Allen
know.
Santa Claus? Is it?
Tim Allen Santa Claus
That's
is
true.
up there.
We should-
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. That's number 5. Tim Allen Santa
All
Claus.
right.
Okay.
Thank you. That was good.
Thanks.
That was good. He did something.
It's not a bad top 5 list.
Yeah.
Maybe I will get that Christmas bonus.
Yeah. We'll see.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm fine with that. I would definitely insert a couple here and there, but that's a solid,
Those are the ones I'd want to watch this year.
solid list.
Yeah, I'd watch all of those this year.
I don't think we're missing anything.
What about
to-
non-Christmas movies that you watch on Christmas?
Oh, that's anything. I don't know. I'll watch Lord of the Rings.
Star Wars?
Star Wars. No.
You like Lord of the Rings, but not Star Wars?
I like Star Wars, but when you put the two together, they don't compare. Star Wars is nowhere near what Lord of the Rings is.
Okay, I'll give you that
I
because
mean-
because Lord of the Rings created a whole entire language.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Star Wars probably has some of that bullshit too, and their, cantina with all the different aliens and things. But, Star Wars is cool. It's great. Star Wars is its own galaxy and everything, but it is not Lord of the Rings, and it was not done in the way Lord of the Rings was done.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just not. I just can't really get into it. Like I can appreciate the effort of Lord of the Rings, and
Did you watch the movies?
yeah, I tried, but they're all just boring to me.
Yeah. So the Fellowship of the Ring is a little slow in the beginning, but it's really good. And then even my wife likes these. So it's
What are the new ones that they did?
The Fellowship.
the Hobbit ones.
The Hobbit one.
Yeah.
I
The
haven't seen any of those.
Fellowship is, I don't know. Susie gave me the infamous line of they walked a lot, and I slowly didn't say anything. I just slowly contained my rage.
Yeah, but have,
But,
have you ever watched like female movies though? They just-
no.
they don't do anything.
Trust me.
It's like,
She-
oh, he fell in
She
love.
also said Mad Max, to be fair, was all about going to get gas.
Okay. That's fair.
Which it is technically.
I haven't seen it.
But no, back.
Lord of the Rings is just a dominant. There's very little that will ever compare with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I think it's just.
I was just about to say, I think you really come to the point, if you meet a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, there's almost nothing that gets into that echelon.
No.
They're very protective
That's fair.
of the quality
Like
of
those
Lord of the
people have
Rings.
read the Silmarillion and
That's
all
what
the
I'm saying.
letters and all the sort. Like those guys are losers for sure.
There's not much of a
Super
comparable
losers.
artist, of a writer than Tolkien.
Yeah. There is J.K. Rowling
Yeah. I mean, but
has her own, and I would put her up there. It's not the same. I'm not comparing Tolkien.
not near as intricate.
No, it's not near as intricate, but she did a great job.
Mhm.
So, and the Harry Potter movies, I think, are really good.
She actually fucked up one thing though.
What?
Putting Harry and Ron, or not Harry, fucking Hermione and Ron together.
That was the fuck up for sure.
I think she said that.
She did. She admitted that.
It's honestly a shame.
She also came out afterwards and said that Dumbledore was gay or something. I'm like, do you really have to like mess with things?
I mean, that makes sense. Dumbledore also kind of gave me that.
He's a little
vibe,
weird. Yeah. If is he gay towards Harry though? Or is it just older men?
I don't know. I think he had a older dude love. You know what I mean?
That's fine. You don't need to say it after the movie. If you want to put it in the movies or in the books, like go for it. But like after the fact, I think you're like, oh, by the way, Dumbledore was gay. Everybody that loves Dumbledore.
Doesn't
honestly
seem like
who cares?
pandering at all.
I honestly think
doesn't seem like pandering at all.
Yeah.
Not pandering, no. But she has stood pretty firm in the trans.
Oh,
argument.
sure. Obviously, she doesn't seem like
She does not think
type.
that biological men are or could be women. Which I think she's got some nuts on her, ironically.
She has some nuts on her.
It's a hell of a thing to
That was
say.
an E-slap right there, Jared.
Yeah,
the pandering gets old. You get tired of the pandering after a
I
while.
agree.
Like if you want him to be gay, like put it in the fucking book. Like write it from scratch with the guy being gay and with his boyfriend. Or something.
Think about how much better the Goblet of Fire would have been if Dumbledore was getting his own little Goblet of Fire. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
I have no idea what you mean.
No,
It's honestly a shame.
him and Hagrid, I think, had a little thing going on.
It's always a
A
shame
little
to
bareback
me
mountain there.
that like Harry Potter's always linked to Lord of the Rings.
That's
Because
fair.
I really don't. I used to kind of see the argument, and the more I watch Harry Potter, like they're totally different.
They're completely different, for sure.
Totally different.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're always brought up like next to each other.
It's just that she created an entire universe, just like Lord of the Rings did, just like Star Wars did.
Uh-huh.
And it's a very, she had 8 movies or something like that, like 7 books, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the depth of what she created was this entire world. And she did such a great job that everybody loves what she wrote.
Yeah.
Just like Tolkien. Tolkien's a little harder to read these days, though.
Yeah.
And like I had my kid read Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Or one of them's reading C.S. Lewis's Narnia right now. And they use old phrases and weird things. Like somebody could actually come through and rewrite C.S. Lewis or something like that for a younger, modern audience. Like when they say snigger, like
We're gonna have
laughing.
to cut this out because this is a great idea. We need to pitch it in. We can't be giving them these free ideas.
Yeah, somebody owns it. You can't do anything. Netflix owns the right to Narnia now.
Do they?
They're going to make a new Narnia series, but
Sure, it'll be great.
definitely will stay just like C.S. Lewis wanted it.
Mhm.
But anyway, there's phrases and words and things like that my kids just have no idea. Like, what does this word mean? And it's like, it's just, they need to learn these things, but it's kind of a children's book, with the Chronicles of Narnia and Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
It's Hollywood doing what they do, just taking kids in the closet and running with it.
They love little kids. So Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Let's move on.
Yeah. a less seamless transition.
We had it all set up.
Yeah,
and
I fucked it up.
Yeah, Barack did it.
So right now, I'd like to talk about how weed affects gains.
We're going back.
We're going back.
Going back to weed affecting gains.
Uno reverse.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Does it? Like for me, I've always seen weed as the the little trick, the loophole, so to say.
Oh, okay.
And being able to
like you can still do drugs and get the results.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can still have your drugs and your put on and your biceps too. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Okay.
In general, I think that's possible. I think there's some downsides to weed that depends on the person that's using it. Like there's some evidence that it can increase, estrogen and decrease testosterone, or at least decrease testosterone. I think that's one of those things. If it alters hormones at all in a person that's lifting weights and trying to get maximal results and things like that, I think that's a problem. I think that would affect the gains in that way. How much it affects the gains, how much it affects hormone production, probably depends on how much you use it. right? Somebody that smokes daily versus, smoking weekly, something like that, or in the mornings and all day long versus just at night. So I think a lot of stuff goes into that. But yeah, it definitely will play with your hormones. And there have been people that have used it and have even gotten, gynecomastia and things like that just from, how their body responds to it hormonally. The bigger
Weed
issue
causes gyno?
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I might sound like an idiot if I don't actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. So
I think it could slightly
I swear to God,
increase your chances.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think there's
The right way to
something
phrase
there.
that.
Bitch tits is what we
Yeah.
call it. I think they can give you bitch tits. So,
Yeah.
but maybe that's just the people eating. Maybe that's just the munchies, and it's not hormonally based.
Have they figured out why or like what part of it changes the hormones? Or like causes the testosterone to reduce, or is it just kind of like we know it does it and
Yeah, I don't know if they've. Maybe they do. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because I'm just sitting here thinking how it kind of relaxes you, takes a little edge off, and I feel like I don't know, like
If you were to take weed though,
Uh-huh.
and you were to take testosterone, would you say that these two things are like the same effect? Like, somebody with a lot of weed in their system would act like somebody that has a lot of testosterone in
No.
their system. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
It's almost an opposite effect
Uh-huh.
of what you want. Like if you're going to take testosterone or steroids or something like that, jack your testosterone levels through the roof, you're going to be more aggressive. You're going to get more things done. You're going to have a different mindset than if you smoke weed all the time. Mindset is going to change for sure in smoking weed. And it's a lot of what to do with the reward center.
Yeah, that's
know,
what I
how
was thinking is like it kind of relaxes you and
Yeah.
kind of like edginess almost. I feel like helps the production of testosterone.
Yeah.
I don't know if there might be something in that with all these like this bullshit people do like cold tubs and whatnot, like making themselves uncomfortable to produce more testosterone. Maybe.
Yeah, but weed just makes you more comfortable.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like that might be contribute to the reduction of testosterone is because
Yeah.
the comfortability of it.
I would imagine it's something more along the lines of just how it works in your system, what it binds with, or something like that when it comes to hormones and how it affects hormones. I mean, everything that you breathe in that has a smell has something that could potentially disrupt hormone production, like the spray you use in the bathroom or like Glade plugins. They found some of these are endocrine disruptors. So you smell a candle that has a really strong smell. Little did you know, it's actually interrupting how your body's producing hormones, which is what I was claiming with weed is the endocrine disruption, how your hormones are produced.
Because it's like giving a reward almost.
It's not, I don't think it has to do with the reward. I think it has to do with the chemicals itself and how your body uses it. The reward's a different downside.
Okay.
Because I think the evidence that we've seen, especially since it's been legalized,
Mhm.
is that what it does is it really activates that reward center in your brain. So you get the reward without doing anything. Typically, you have to go do something to get the reward. And so people become more motivated to accomplish something. But whenever you can just smoke or eat or do something like that and get the reward in your brain, you no longer are out achieving. You're now just complacent to just get that reward by smoking.
Mhm.
So now it's not to say there's only downsides by any means, but I think that if you're talking about somebody that's working out, this is not something that's going to help make their life easier in fitness. It may make their life easier in other areas, in terms of relaxation or, something like that, stress reduction, going to sleep at night if they have sleeping issues, things like that. I think there's other areas for it for sure. But if you were to say, using weed versus not using weed, would you be better in the gym? You'd be better without it for sure. So
I got you.
Yeah.
It keeps making me think about like you said, smelling a candle can lower your or raise your estrogen. Smoking weed can.
Yeah. It disrupt your production of hormones.
Yeah.
Which could mean drop in testosterone without an increase in estrogen, or it could mean an increase in estrogen and a drop in testosterone.
Right.
Things are just not
the same.
And there's more hormones going on. So like I'm not an expert in all of that stuff. I know enough to talk about it here.
Uh-huh.
And that's pretty much it.
I'm just seeing like a major correlation in like things that drive pleasure.
Yeah.
Like some people say that you shouldn't jerk off if you're trying to,
Yeah, there's people. There was one. I want to say it was Stalin. I think that wouldn't finish.
Hitler.
Nah.
He
He would like almost get to like finishing.
I'm pretty sure you're the one that told me it was Hitler.
It's possible. Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about, John.
That's totally fair.
I think it was Stalin,
I could be wrong.
and I think he refused to let himself like finish the job, for lack of better terms.
I believe you. There's people.
There are people out there that think there is some magic to what they call semen retention.
Yeah.
Where you do not waste any of that golden goodness. I don't know. I've never put that to the test, so I couldn't tell you.
Those studies.
I'm having a hard time finding this one.
Okay. He's gonna have all sorts of weird pop-ups.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough Google search. You're gonna regret this one when you look back later.
Adolf Hitler's girlfriend, so maybe this. It was like to date the dictator. It talks about his sexuality. Wow, this might be an interesting read for later on. I think I'll keep that one on for later.
Download.
No idea. It may not have been Stalin. It could have been Hitler. I have no idea. Somebody else that's watching this, hopefully you can tell me what I'm talking about. There are people, though, and even through like ancient civilizations that have talked about, semen retention, the no-fap. You heard no-fap, where you just like, you don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
And there are people that I've read, different people online that talk about it, and they're like, oh yeah, within like 6 months, man, it was just magnetic. People just like came up to me and talked to me out of nowhere. Like things worked out for me. Everybody was drawn to me. It was like I had a magnetism. And I'm like,
is it that, or are you just horny and want to fuck everything around you at that point? Like, I don't know.
Maybe he is. I saw something with Steve-O. Was it Steve-O? I think it was Steve-O. Said he went 400 days without getting off. 400 days. And that was part of his therapy or something like that. I think his.
What did he say about it?
He said he was the most productive he's ever been in his entire life. Got way more done, but is also like grouchy and an asshole. So, maybe be highly productive and everybody hates you.
I don't know. I find it very interesting the spectrum of thought on sex, because some people think of it as a need, just like water, food, sleep.
There's proof for prostate health. Yeah, that you should ejaculate a certain amount of times per week for prostate health. Really, you should do that. Yeah.
So, ladies, if your man's getting prostate cancer, that's your fault.
I don't know if the correlation with cancer is there, but if you want to keep it healthy, you know what to do. That's what you should say.
There you go. Hey, I'm helping you older men out here.
Helping the guys out.
For any complaints, BROC@NutriAuthority.
BROC@NutriAuthority.com. Yep. Or at NutriAuthority on Instagram. He's running the page.
Yeah. I'll directly get your messages.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There may or may not be something to those kind of things that have to do with hormones or have to do with something else that's there. Chinese ancient medicine has qi or qi. Yeah. Qi, I think. And they would talk about qi. You waste your qi on something like that. That would be an energy loss, would be through getting off or something. So there's potentially, they have the whole meridian system when they do acupuncture.
Mm-hmm. Very familiar with the meridian system.
It's like, I know you are. Grow up on meridian there. It's they claim it's like an energy system that goes through your body, and it has like whole loops that it does. And the acupuncture is whenever those are blocked or something, and they stick a needle in there and it like opens the flow up. So, we only know what we do know. We don't know what else exists. We don't know all the different things that are out there. So it's possible that there's more going on than we have any idea.
Yeah, I seen something on social media the other day saying how it's like good for you to have sex in the woods because of like that meridian system things and like grounding and whatnot. So
maybe you should test it out, Vanessa.
Vanessa, trust me, bro.
Yeah. We don't want to talk just random memes on this podcast, but
well cited research.
Anybody wants to test this out? Just give us the feedback. We'd be curious to know.
I just want to point out that I am at no point representing an expert on this show. My whole job is to ask the dumb questions. I'm just pointing that out.
He's got good dumb questions.
So,
excuse me.
Jesus, Jared. Come on, man. Another thing people are interested in knowing
is
like
that marijuana we smoked.
Had to stay on topic.
Go ahead.
Dude, I honestly thought about bringing my dog today and putting like antlers on her since I had all this.
Yeah, that would have been great.
It would have been pretty good. She's a good dog. She would have chilled here this entire time. Okay. So
mine would have crapped somewhere else here.
No, she would have just hung out right here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like where that mic was for a second. It was hitting me under the chin. Another thing that people would like to know is what's the bare minimum people have to work out a week to like see gains, whether that be days, hours, minutes, second. I don't know. Like people love to know the bare minimum and riding that fine razor's edge. So let's hear it.
You can still make gains with very little. It depends on what you're talking about, right? I would say what's my most. I like the term bang for your buck.
Mhm.
Like, what's my best bang for my buck?
Yeah.
You know, how much can I get away
Your
with?
ROI.
Yeah, like I want to invest as little as possible, but get the biggest return. You know, you can invest less, but your return's less. So where's that maximal like return on your
marginal
time?
benefit?
Yeah, there you go.
I used to always love.
Yeah. So I think marginal benefit, return on investment. I think it's 2 to 3 days a week. I think 2 to 3 days a week for about an hour. So I think if you work out 3 hours a week, you're getting the best return on your investment possible. I think after that, the return on investment gets less. Not that there is no return on investment. It's just that it gets smaller in terms of like the percentage of return of ROI. Or if you do less, again, there is still a benefit. If you want to work out 1 day a week, or if you want to do 10 minutes a day or something like that, there's still benefits to it. But I think three really hits what I think is the best bang for your buck.
So like, sorry. So is that just like assuming you have 1 hour per session and whatnot, or like if you have less time, you could differentiate that between like 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week?
Yeah, you could do that if you wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
like to split it. We're talking weightlifting with what I'm talking about. You know, there's jujitsu, there's biking, there's all this other stuff, and I'm an expert in weightlifting. You know, I'm an expert in building muscle, burning, body fat, looking a certain way, getting strong, things like that. So I'm coming from that perspective. And from that perspective, I think 3 days a week is your optimal level. You have 2 different options: push, pull, legs, which is where you hit everything once a week. Push muscles, chest, shoulders, triceps. That's 1 day. Pull muscles, biceps, back. And then you have legs is the last day. Calves, quads, hams,
whatever else you want.
Yeah, whatever it is. Now you only hit those muscles once a week that way. Now if you did upper lower split, Monday upper, Wednesday lower, Friday upper, well, you've already hit upper twice, and you'll hit lower again on Monday. So you'll hit them twice in 8 days. And so I think the frequency benefit of twice in 8 days is more advantageous than push-pull legs.
Are you at a better advantage spreading those 3 days across a week, or like going 3 days in a row, 2 days
Spread
in a
them
row?
out.
Spread them
Yeah.
out?
That's for central nervous system, recovery, sleep, things like that. If you had no time, if you worked a day where it was like you work 4 10s or something like that, or 4 12s or something, and you just don't want to go to the gym on those 4 days, and you have 3 days off on the weekend, you could do 3 in a row. It would not be as optimal.
So how does that tie into? Okay, that's a good point. So let's say I'm somebody who likes to only work out on days I don't work.
Mhm.
So, but I'm active with my job. I pack boxes, or I mow lawns.
Amazon worker.
Yeah. Is that activity during the day contributing towards my overall wellness and whatnot?
It depends on the goal.
Okay.
Right. I mean, if you're walking, that's great for just cardiovascular health and staying in shape. It's not going to build muscle, and there's so many guys that used to come in the store whenever I was working for selling supplements, and they would be like, "Oh man, but I'm just lifting shit all day long. Just, I just lift this and I move it over here." And I'm like, yeah, but you get used to it. Like the whole point of getting stronger is that you're constantly putting your body under a new stress. So if you do the same stress all the time, eventually you get up to that level, and then you're not going to get any stronger. You're not going to get better. You're not going to get any bigger. You have to take that weight and increase it, that kind of thing. And so those guys that are working those jobs would stay in shape. That's why you see guys that are construction guys or roofers or things like that work outside. They can eat whatever they want because they're staying active, but they're not jacked. They're just fast metabolism, a lot of calories burned. So differences between calories burned and fat loss by staying active and building muscle to boost your metabolism or look a different way or be strong or something like that. So in those situations, your job doesn't help much. Most jobs like that don't really help in that. You have to go to progressive overload and push for weight and strength increases.
Very good.
You brought up an interesting point too about the frequency, though. I know almost everyone I know who works out 3 days a week does the push-pull legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of people's complaint, if anything, is the fact that it's just so you end up getting a lot of less compound lifts if you end up going like with that sort of schedule.
With push-pull legs or?
Yeah. Because I feel, you have to fill out, after you're doing like chest and triceps, you got to get 6 or 7 lifts out of that.
Yeah.
You're only going to do 3 or 4 compound lifts. I was just thinking out loud about it probably is the frequency that helps you more than just the types of lifts, I guess, in some regard.
Frequency and the types of lift. Also, isolation versus compound lifts will change. But what's interesting, and I didn't come up with this. I learned this from a guy years ago. It was called dog crap training.
Sure.
DC training. That was like my favorite one whenever I was 18. And he had the same idea that you would work out upper lower split 3 days a week. So every 8 days, you'd hit everything twice. And his point of view was that if you hit, chest once a week, you have 52 times for that to break down and build up stronger. But if you hit chest twice every 8 days, you have almost double the amount of times for it to break down and build up stronger. So you're hitting a muscle more frequently. The more frequently, as long as it's allowed to recover and you're not overusing it to a point where it can't recover within that time frame. So maximal stimulation, short period of time, then you can come back to that and you can have another growth cycle. So you could potentially have, 100 growth cycles versus 52 growth cycles by doing an upper lower split 3 days a week. And so that's where I think that's more advantageous for people.
No, it makes a ton of sense. I just hadn't thought about it quite like that, but it makes total sense.
Some people don't like it because it makes legs too frequent. Some people don't like doing legs every other workout.
Obviously, that's the huge problem.
If you don't like legs, it's upper lower is terrible. Right. But I do biceps on lower. So biceps and forearms.
Well, that's what I mean. Is that I know a lot of people used to like throw in shoulders on the leg day.
I do.
If you're doing the push pull, legs, shoulders.
Yes. No, I do chest, shoulders, triceps, back width, and back thickness, and sometimes abs on upper. And then on lower, I do biceps, forearms, and then calves. And then I move into potentially glutes if I need glute work, or just, quads and hams, like squats or hamstring curls. And
it makes a ton of sense. And I think it's super weird that people, I wouldn't say afraid, but I think a lot of people are so hesitant to change their routine, even if they're not getting results.
True.
Even if they're just like, they just don't want to change it. It's I don't know. So I guess not everyone's like that.
You've got two different people, right? You've got the kind of guy that refuses to change. He just does the same workout, goes in, he's been doing it for years. And then on the opposite hand, you have the person that changes the workout every fucking time.
Right. It's too much.
And both of them are wrong. That's your whole idea is progress. And I've hit this over and over and over in my emails, but progress is number one. And the only way you know if you're progressing is tracking it. So if you're not writing your workouts down and writing the weights down, you have no idea if you're getting stronger. You think you are, or you think you're getting better, but realistically, you're not pushing yourself like you would if you wrote it down. Because, I write my workouts down, I go back in there, bump the weight up, get the same reps, get a few less, something like that. But most people aren't going to bump the weight 5 pounds. Those little 2.5 pound things. Nobody wants to use the 2.5 pounders, but I use the 2.5 pounders all the time. I'm doing bench press. I'll throw 2.5s on each set. That's 5 pounds. I just added 5 pounds to my weight. Over the course of the year, if I do that every single exercise, I've got, a massive gain in my strength from adding 5 pounds every week or every 8 days, twice every 8 days. So that's the way I like to do it.
The donuts eventually equal the quarters.
Yeah. People don't realize the small incremental stuff is what matters.
That's not sexy.
So it's not sexy.
Does that mean it's better to have a shitty workout than no workout at all?
Most of the time. Most of the time, better to have a shitty workout. There's situations where it's better to stay at home. Like I love people say, no one's ever regretted a workout after they've been there or something like that, or nobody's ever, I've fucking torn some muscles that I've regretted my fucking workouts for sure.
Regretted a workout.
So nobody's ever regretted a workout after they make it. Yeah, I have. I have tore my hamstring, tore my quad, tore my pec, all this different stuff, all minor tears, but exercises. I would have been like, if I would have stayed home today, my day would have been better.
So that's one thing that I do sometimes is like, I'll be like getting ready to go to jiu-jitsu and something will feel a little off.
Yeah, that's the weed talking.
No.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Something will feel like a little off. And
what do you mean by off?
Like, I don't know. I just don't feel as like reactive
so
as
you're
I'd
hurt,
like to be.
But you're not injured.
Yeah, I'm hurt. Like I don't feel like 100%. Like, yeah, like, I don't feel 100%. I don't feel like
The lie is that you have to be 100%. You don't. I mean, to be fair, it's better to go to the gym and go through the motions than it is to skip the gym. Mm-hmm. And that's to say, there, of course, did you get 3 hours of sleep last night? Would you be better off going to the gym or getting sleep? Probably sleep. If we're being honest, sleep is way more important than going to the gym in terms of everything that goes on in your body and your brain and your function in your life and things like that. They've even shown that like lack of sleep is like being drunk when you're driving. It like impairs your focus so much. The closest
similarity they find to it is brain damage.
Yeah.
A lack of sleep.
So in those situations, I would say, no, don't go to the gym, get the sleep and figure out your schedule. But if somebody's already getting dressed and they're like, I just don't feel like going, go to the gym, go. I would say go. I would say start working out. Yours is a little different because it's jiu-jitsu, but I would say start working out. And if you get halfway through the workout and you're like, man, I'm just not feeling this, then leave, at that point, but don't stop before you go. You ever, most of the time you're going to get there and feel better.
Have you ever had like one of those things like, I don't feel like going again today, went anyway, and then got injured?
No,
that's like my biggest fear, dude.
No.
That's like my biggest thing is like I'm gonna be like, I don't know, fuck it, I'm gonna go anywhere than just like tear an ACL or something. Like fuck,
No, stuff like that happens. I drove a different car to Colorado because I was afraid of a flat tire, and then I got a flat tire in my other car. So it's like the what's meant to happen is going to happen
it's
kind
the
of a thing.
Chinese farmer proverb, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't know if it's good or bad.
No, you don't. Broke a leg? I don't know. Is it good?
Exactly.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. So no, I've never had those. I have had workouts where I've gone, and I can remember a very vivid one whenever I was in college, because that was probably when I loved working out the most because I had the most free time and I was really into it and stuff like that. But I remember going to the KU rec one time and working out and getting halfway through my workout, and I was like, man, screw this. I'm going home. Like I just did not. Nothing was connecting. I didn't feel strong. I felt, just off the whole workout. So I just left. But I think that the getting to the gym is the more important part. You get to the gym, you start warming up, you start working through those things. 9 times out of 10, you're going to feel better from doing it.
It's that classic word of consistency. Once again, the people who are struggling to get to the gym, those are the ones. Well, I did have a long day.
That's
today.
The truth. That's the truth.
It's like, no. You need to get your ass in the gym.
The problem is that most people are lazy, and most people will look for any excuse to get out of whatever they're doing. Mm. And so the first time something comes up, they're just like, oh, maybe I should stay home. I don't want to go. That just turns into a habit. That just turns into a lifestyle of just giving up early. So in those situations, those people need to go anyway, for sure. Then on the opposite hand, you have the freaking crazy ass people that are the bodybuilders like I was, where they're doing a bodybuilding show or something, and they've been to the gym 7 days this week, doing cardio, 3 of them, working out 5 of them, and they're just beat down. They've got strep throat and they're still going to the gym. Like those people need to chill out. So it's who you're talking to. There's definitely the vast majority of people are too lazy. They just skip the gym. So in that situation, I'd say just go anyway. Go anyway, get going. If you hate it, leave halfway through.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can always dip out in a horrible workout. I've only done it a couple of times in my life, but it's true. It's just
I've done it, yeah.
This is horrible. I feel like shit. I ate too recently. I slept horribly. I feel weak. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm just so tired. I can't even work through it.
Whatever excuse you want, whether it's even real or not, that's fine.
I got bubbly guts from the Los Compadres.
Yeah.
Never.
Bubble guts.
Love Los Compadres.
The bubble guts. Yeah. So I would say, very few people would need to skip the gym. But, if you have an injured muscle and it's strained the wrong way, you should not be going to the gym and trying to train that muscle. If anything, you should be going to the gym and maybe lightly doing some activity to loosen it up, or, active recovery kind of things. But there's always a situation not to go, but the answers go.
You can, you just hit the nail on the head. You can always find a reason not to go.
Oh, for sure.
Which means you shouldn't go all the time.
That's half the reason I go in the mornings, though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you get it in the morning, you get it over with. It's out of the way. The rest of the day is free.
Oh,
if you go later at night, you've got all these things that have built up, and by the time it's 5 or 6, you're like, I got to go do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and you just don't go. So I find it easier in the morning for that reason.
Oh, totally. I work out. I always try to work out 3 times a week, but if I skip Monday, almost positively not going to work out on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
But it's true.
I went to the gym Saturday and Sunday. Now, our gym bought another gym and they merged together. So there's a lot more people there for the next month or so.
It's going to suck January 1st.
It's their membership's up by then.
That's true.
Yeah. The 30-day trial that the other gym members got at my gym is up. But what I noticed was just how many people were there. Because I went Saturday or Sunday or something with one of my kids. And, dude, it was packed. There are people that love working out on Saturday and Sunday. It was hilarious, right? Because I go to kind of an older crowd gym, a little less bodybuilder-ish, just, more functional fitness kind of thing. And these people are coming from, the bodybuilder gym in town or whatever it was that everybody was doing. And they're all dressed up in sports bras and yoga pants, and the guys are dressed up in their outfits and clothes and things. And then I'm just, it's not the crowd, but they're very serious about Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, it's like their lifestyle. That's what they enjoy. So they go to the gym on Saturday and Sunday and do it their time. And so there was a lot of people there.
That's what my wife and I are gonna have to start doing, is because it's like when we go, we have to leave our son at like the little daycare area. Yeah. And then we feel bad because we leave him at daycare all day during the weekdays.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just like, all right, well, Saturday and Sundays, we go in the morning, leave him at daycare to get his energy burn off. We go work out. And that's kind of what the plan is. So we've had a membership for about a week. We've used it once, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how this plays out and whatnot.
Yep. That's a good way to do it. Saturday and Sunday, I try to go with one of my kids, just teach them how to work out. They get to do my workout. This is what they do. They don't like. They're like, I want to do the treadmill. I want to do the rope.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. Today's chest, shoulders, triceps, back width, and back thickness.
Is there like people always used to say that if you start lifting too young, you'll stunt your growth. Is there any truth to that?
No, they've disproven that for sure.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
So I just saw, I think today actually, I seen Eddie Hall's kid deadlift like 100 kilograms, like 225 pounds.
Oh yeah. How old is he?
He's I think like 12 or 13.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's nuts. So I wasn't sure. Like I assume that there's probably people in the comments giving him shit saying, "Oh, it's gonna hurt his joints or whatever." Like, so is there like a age where you shouldn't like do that at, or like, or to the fathers out there that want to get involved with their sons, like just start taking them to the gym with you?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's any age. They used to say it would stunt your growth and cause like closing of growth plates and things like that. It was all wrong. They've proven that lifting heavy as a kid actually is very beneficial for you at this point in time. You think coordination, movement, accountability or structure to their life, strength gains, with all of it comes bone density gains, all sorts of benefits. Self-confidence is a huge one.
There's all sorts of benefits. I'm not, I don't think Jared and I are advocating for like starting really young, but now I remember hearing that when we were like 16 or 17, like wait till you're 18. What happens at 18, like genetically?
Yeah, there's nothing. No, they've disproven that, but it's really.
Can kids like make gains? Like if you put them on like a workout program, like pre-puberty, pre-puberty kids, can they make like gains?
Yes, but it's not the gains that you would think because they don't have testosterone. Like males don't have the testosterone level till they hit puberty, and then it takes off from there. So they're not going to have, the kind of results that you would want. They would probably have more along the lines of the kind of results that women have, where they build muscle, but it's not going to be as bulky. It's not going to be as big. It's not going to be fueled by testosterone, essentially. So once they hit that testosterone peak, then they could start putting on some decent muscle. But what you said, it was interesting that how many people will get their kids into lifting like super young, and it's all the people that are really into lifting. And if they do jiu-jitsu, like Brock, they're going to get their kids into jiu-jitsu or something like that. It's really interesting how many people try to live vicariously through their children.
Of course.
Like they're gonna, like my kid's gonna be a badass in the gym, and it's because I think the gym's that important, or I think jujitsu is that my kid's gonna be a badass in jujitsu.
I've always struggled with
like
this, like like you were just saying that guy's like the kid's son. It's like, dude, what if the kid just loves it? Because that's what his dad does.
That's for sure. The kid is likely motivated because his dad does it.
You see an Asian kid playing the violin when he's 7. Half the comments are like, "This is torture," and then it's like, dude, this kid probably loves this.
Yeah,
like
up to a certain degree
right now. So I don't know. I feel
Eddie Hall's kid for sure. He's like a world's strongest man competitor. Yeah. He's awesome on social media. I like watching the guy. He's got a great personality for the fact that he's just like this super strong, world's strongest man competitor or something like that. But I'm sure his kid would want to. He's around it all the time. Yeah. His dad's a strong motherfucker. He's going to want to. But there's also these kids that aren't interested, that get pushed really hard into one thing. And that's the one that I think that's really interesting because, and it may be that it is like Eddie Hall, that the parents so, into the gym or so into jujitsu or something like that their kid's like, I want to go with you. Can I go work out? Can I do it? But these people, they take it seriously, man. And I'm like, what's your 7-8-year-old gonna benefit from going? He's gonna benefit, but at the same time, is it pushed by him or pushed by you?
I think I have a unique perspective on this.
I'll take it.
So I grew up racing motocross, like very competitively and seriously from the age of like 5 or 6 all the way up to 13 or 14.
Sure.
And it was, I don't know, it was the most happy I've ever been in my life. Like as a kid, like that was the happiest I was as a kid. Yeah, it felt like I had the most purpose. I felt the most belonging. I felt that's how I knew who I was and whatnot.
Sure, that was your identity.
That was I completely identified with that.
Yeah,
and it I think there's some major benefits to that because it had a lot to teach me as far as I got to be around a lot of top level professional athletes. So from a young age, I got to realize what it takes to be able to compete on that level, the sacrifices you have to make to be able to achieve that. And not only as a competitor, but like as a parent, for a parent wanting to get their kids to do that. Yeah. Because what a lot of people don't realize is like you have these dads that are pushing their kids to do all this, but a lot of them aren't willing to do what it takes to get their kids to that level. So they're very selfishly just doing that on like their own, like projecting their own wants or what they wish they would have accomplished.
Living
through their kid and whatnot. But I think it's very beneficial if you can find something that your kid enjoys to dedicate to like that.
Well, I agree. Yeah.
I think that is honestly one of the most beneficial things that you can do for a kid is to find something that he loves and to be able to put everything into that. And I'm listening to an audiobook right now. It's over Hickson Gracie. He is one of in the founding family of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And a lot of those kids, the ones that really loved Jiu-Jitsu, it paid off for them. They became extremely rich and famous and had their own schools and had their identities in it. It really it seemed to work out for them. But the ones that seemed to be pushed by it or didn't really have any interest in it got into drugs and kind of overdoses and led astray. So there's definitely a benefit there, and I think the issue with the kids not feeling belonged is just not having the right thing there in place. So I think as a parent, when it comes to anything sports related or nutrition related or exercise related, is just making sure that your kid loves it, because that could be one of the most beneficial things that you can have for that kid long term. Because some of the lessons I've learned from motocross and having so much time dedicated to that is I still vastly have lessons learned from it, benefit from it, etc. So even looking back now and through the lens of an adult, of what I experienced as a kid, there's still things I learned just like and recognize now and whatnot. So
for sure. No, I think, there's definitely a benefit. Like when you play sports, when you do anything like that, you learn not giving up whenever you're doing something. Like you remember doing suicides and, basketball or football or something like that. It's like, you can't just quit. Or doing the plays or, teamwork or camaraderie or, even just that mindset that kind of you're talking about for the most part. I think all have benefits to them. My curiosity is whether or not it's the kid's interest or not. I think that's where I'm coming from. Is I think it's interesting because I watch some of these people, and maybe it's the obsession of the parents. Because I do see some of these people, like, I saw a kid the other day that competed at a bodybuilding show and he was like 13. Both of his parents compete in bodybuilding shows. I'm sure the kid wanted to do it. If I was his parent, I would have said no. In those situations, they'd be like 13 years old. You don't need to get your body fat down to that level. You don't need to do all of this stuff. Like, you just need to lift weights and enjoy what you want. Granted, during that bodybuilding prep, that kid learned a lot. Like he learned a level of dedication that no 13-year-old kid ever learns. But at the same time, there's plenty of time for that. Your whole life is dedication. Your whole life is the grind. Your whole life is make money and, do all of this stuff and get better and build yourself up in hobbies and things like that.
I was going to go that route. It's like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but there's also those, you're never getting anything of that time back.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, is not a good or bad thing. I feel like you just have to realize that. And then,
the judgment call of good or bad is hard because everybody lives a different life.
That's what I mean.
Everybody lives a different life. Everybody has different priorities and things like that.
Yeah, and like
fair.
Brock said, that could very well be the happiest time of your whole life, much less your child life. So,
true.
Like you said, like, it's a hindsight's really 20/20 on that. You're not going to know if that was the right decision until later, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting because it comes down to like the community.
If I'm being honest, it happens more with only children.
Do you think so?
100%. The fewer the children, the more likely this happens.
It makes sense. I don't know if I can definitively say that.
Makes because the more I think about it, but there are some instances, because I used to see this a lot, where they would invest a lot of time into one kid, right? So they'd have like two or three of them.
The golden child.
Yeah, and then there'd be the one that would show the most interest in it. Yeah, so they had their litter, and they're like, all right, this is the one. And then so they'd be dumping thousands, tens of thousands, $100,000 a year into bikes, RVs, like mechanics, trainers, just crazy shit. Homeschooling these kids. Yeah. And then their brother is just like some weird nerdy guy who has no
playing Game Boy.
Just playing Game Boy all the time because he has no social interaction because he's with his brother at a track all the time and whatnot. So they literally cut down the rest of the kids because they're like, all right, this is the one. We got this one doing what we want. So we're and I see that a lot.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's tough. As a person without kids, it's super weird to watch because it's like you have the one sides of like the Williams sisters, like their dads, like like they like think he's a hero, and I'm just like, dude, this guy looks crazy from where I was sitting, But once again, it's like if they reach that level of success and that's because of him, Who am I to say that's a horrible thing? So
you have to redefine success, though.
It's a tricky thing, and like you say, you're alluding to, like success and what you really want. That's tough.
And I think it comes down to perception of the parent, because some of those dads are really like, it goes one or two ways. It goes, they really, really, really like and worship their dad and look up to him, or they hate that fucker.
Yeah.
Like there's no in between when it gets to that.
Yeah. And I don't think any of these parents necessarily have the wrong idea in mind. I think it's an interesting thing, because I come from my kids, right? Mm-hmm. And pushing them in, because they have not shown a large interest in any sport. We tried baseball. They were okay. They tried basketball. They were okay. They go to the gym with me. They like it, but they don't have anything that they've tried that they were like, man, I just want to go all in on this, for the most part. And so, they tried these different things. So I look at it from a different perspective of like, what does it take for a kid to get interested in these things? Is it a parent that's pushing them? Is it just a school thing and tryouts? Is it,
I think, a sense of belonging?
A sense of belonging, all of these things. That's really the only spot I'm coming from, is because the experience I have with my kids was not that they wanted to dive into these things and become, really obsessed with baseball or any of these sports or anything like that.
I think they have these subconscious longings, whether it be more time with their dad, more time with their mom, more time with kids, more doing this, that. Like they have these things that they want subconsciously or long for, and that if that sport or activity fills those holes, then that's kind of what they get into. Or the first one to do that effectively, I think, is the first one that they really get into, because you see a lot of adults do this too, where they'll be in their mid-20s, 30s and find something like jiu-jitsu. I see this all the time, and they're just all in on it.
Yes,
so they're going multiple times a day, changing their diets, changing losing 30, 40, 50 pounds and whatnot, because that's what did it. They wanted that sense of community and friends. They wanted to feel like they weren't so useless and helpless in the streets or whatnot. Mm-hmm. They wanted that sense of confidence, and that's what filled the hole. So that's what they got obsessed with. I think it's the exact same thing with kids. Okay. It's just a matter of finding it in time to bond over it with the parent. Because I think that's, I don't know, like from a kid perspective, being around a lot of adults that had those kind of activities with their kids, whether it be motocross, wrestling, etc. That's something I look up to as a kid, like wanting to have that with my parent. And then now as a parent, that's something I want to have with my kid. Okay. So that's fair. Yeah. I think it just comes down to what fills those holes or gaps or whatever. Yeah, I could see that. On the opposite hand, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a short period of time, even though this may not reflect my entire views or anything. Mm-hmm. But you know how many rich and highly successful people that have dominated their industry wanted to kill themselves. Oh yeah, right. So that's going to the Williams and all the super successful. We define success as what you achieve. Well, you can achieve all that, and at the end of the time, hate yourself. Even though you achieved all of that stuff, still feel worthless. Even though you achieved all that stuff, be one of the richest people in the world and still feel insecure and like you're not good enough. And in those situations, I would say, that's the problem that I would say with defining success so black and white, is like, well, if you do good in your sport or you do good in life in this one way, you're successful, which is how most of America is, to be fair, especially with the social media side of things, and especially in business and fitness and things like that. Fitness, it doesn't matter how much you suffered, as long as you look good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you took enough drugs that would put a horse down, as long as you look good. That kind of thing. I think
it can, if you want to, you can sum it up really in what is your identity? Yeah. I think if you're really looking for,
it's a tough one to understand. Yeah, it's a tough one to understand.
Like those people who join the MMA gym at 40, and get obsessed with it. It's like, I don't think they were necessarily missing anything, but it's just like that's obviously going to be a huge part of their identity now. Mm-hmm. Same thing as the dude that doesn't work out for forever and gets into the gym when he's 35. It's like gets the gloves, gets the memberships, on every supplement we sell and some. Yeah, and it's just like that's got to be an identity in my head. That's just like that person was missing part of their identity. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it.
No, I don't think so. But I think we all identify with different things. Yeah. So I think that's definitely a part of it and it's also, what identity do you want? Like when I got into bodybuilding, it was that I wanted to look like these guys and make that my identity. Sure. I wanted bodybuilding to be part of my identity, and that I was this certain type of guy, and that would make me feel better about myself or feel successful or, more secure or whatever it was. It was that plus the dopamine rush of looking good, or whatever it was. So there was multiple facets, but yeah, I think that's part of it. I really just wanted to bring that in because I think that's something that all of us need to keep in mind. I could drop dead tomorrow and it wouldn't fucking matter if I was super rich, like, or if I was highly successful and I had the biggest, best supplement company or something like that. Really, the only thing that would matter is just the family and friends that I had.
I've told you about. I took a class in college about it's basically like aging and death. I think is what it's called. It's not the most uplifting one, but there was tons of letters from people on their deathbeds, and a lot of it is what you'd imagine. But you can probably get where I'm headed. It's like all of them just talked about wanting to spend more time with their family, regrets things they didn't do. There's nothing in there about they needed to finish something.
No.
They needed to make more money. Not a single person says that.
I wish I would have made more money.
Exactly.
I wish I would have got that project done on my house.
I know it's a little cliche, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And
it's just something that's not reminded to us. We know it intellectually. We've heard it before.
Yeah.
But when you get into the day-to-day grind, you find that the things that you think of that are important are, how do I look today? You know, how is my bank account look?
Yeah.
How's my
What's
business
for dinner?
doing? Yeah. You know, what am I eating? You know, all these different things. You know, how am I going to pay the bills? And all these different things, which are concerns right now. But in the long term, they're not that big of concerns. It's same to tie it back. It ties to the kids. You know, is this one? There is a highly beneficial thing teaching these kids discipline, motivation, self-motivation, consistency, drive, all of that stuff. On the opposite hand, there's also that is not the important things in life. Those are important, but it is not your prime important things in life. And I think that needs to be reiterated.
At least not yet.
Yeah.
At least
once they get old.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
kids are never going to understand that. Like, you know, adults don't understand.
No, I know, but you know what I mean.
It's part of how you teach your kids. It's part of how you grow up. It's part of, you know, what you instill in your kids. Because these are conversations that you have, just like we're having this conversation right now. It's a conversation I'd have with my kids. You know, on the opposite hand, you know, another parent would say, you know, you have to make a lot of money. You have to be successful.
That's a huge issue because that creates a huge identity thing. Because, you know, you get told your entire childhood, you know, you're going to be a businessman. You're going to make a whole bunch of money. And it's like, you know, you get in your 20s and whatnot. And even a time that might not even happen yet, that might be in your future and whatnot, but it hasn't happened yet. But you feel identityless. You feel like a failure. You feel like this because your parents have projected their own insecurities onto you and instilled those into you. So now you're living with those same you know,
that's what I mean. You picked up on it. Great. Because the same insecurities they're passing down to whatever they're, you know, the biking or if it's bodybuilding or it's, you know, baseball or something, it's still whatever it was, you know, part of it's enjoyment, not taken away from that. Part of it's the good stuff, but don't forget the bad. You know, there's obviously two sides to this coin, that kind of thing. You know, it's very much, there's a very big thing where, I don't remember where it comes from. Could have been David Dita, could have been Mark Manson, something like that. But it's essentially pretend that your dad's dead and do what you want. Because most people, especially guys, have a very big fear of judgment from their fathers, and they don't want to disappoint their dad. So one of the things that you have to do is you have to get past that. Your dad wants you to do this. Your dad wants you to live this life because he thinks he knows what's best for you. He thinks he knows if you lived your life like this, based off the life I lived, that would be a great life. But it's not his life. You know, you gotta pick your own battles. If you don't want to be a doctor and your dad's telling you gotta be a doctor, you gotta be a doctor. That's how you make money. And you go be a doctor and you hate your fucking life because you hate being a doctor. You got to grow a pair and you have to get past that with your dad because it's your dad that's pushing you into it. It's your dad that's the voice in your head, even though it's not doing it. It's that mindset's there. So that's really an interesting one. I think they call it the father issue or something like that. But that's a really interesting. There's people pleasers everywhere. Kids that are, you know, I've got 3 kids. They're all different. I have one that is much more likely to do whatever I tell him to if I get onto him. The other 2 will rebel completely. One is a people pleaser. He didn't want to get in trouble. He didn't want to be the bad kid. He wants to do what I tell him. And so I have to be aware of that. Like if I come down hard on him, like I might on the other 2, I will crush his soul and I will make him constantly always want to please me over anything else. I don't want that. So anyway.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, like having to balance like personalities and
there's no right answer to everybody. You're going to fuck everything up anyway. It's like there's no wrong answer. It's really just being aware of the other things that are going on and really having a 50,000 foot perspective on your life where you can see it, you know, from the end. You can see what you would think is the better choices now, and then keep that in mind.
Yeah, the hard thing is like not getting caught up in emotion. Like people say, emotion is like a wave, like, and that's completely true. Yeah, with like whether it be a decision you're making with your kid or your fitness or whatever, you kind of see like get caught up in the next big thing, next big workout, next big diet, next big, you know, and
and you just pass along the problems that you have. Your own internal crazies get passed on to your kids unless you're aware of it.
Even if you're aware of it, like I said, even if you're aware of it, you'll get caught up in the emotion of everything.
100%. 100%. One thing I've tried to do a good, because it was very important for me how I looked for a long time, right? Whether that came from my parents, whether that was innate from me, it is what it is. But it was one thing that I've tried very hard not to criticize my own body or criticize other people's bodies in front of my kids. Pay attention too much to how their hair looks. Pay attention too much to where, whether they're dressing up enough and things like that, because I don't want that to be such an overwhelming focus for them to worry about. For the most part, I'd rather them, like their hair's messy. Like, who cares?
Well, it's good self-awareness because once again, it's like you're basically aware that that was an issue for you
100%
at one point, and you don't want to make that an issue for them.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm just aware of that stuff, and I focus instead on the other side. We don't watch what we eat because you're going to get fat. You watch what you eat because you should want a strong body. Just a different side.
You want to stay healthy.
Yeah, you want to stay healthy. You want a strong body. You want to, all that stuff.
A different take on the propaganda is all.
I just feed them the better propaganda.
Yeah.
My version is the best version of propaganda.
There you go.
Always.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's right.
So speaking of propaganda, let's talk about Impossible Meats.
Okay. Yeah. That shit.
It certainly seems like propaganda.
So vegan meat, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you think they have to make it look like hamburgers for you to want to eat it? Is the real question I would have. Like, if people want to eat meat that bad, just let them eat meat. Like, stop trying to make your plants look like meat. That's just,
Yeah.
That's where I stand.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how many extra additives are in there and all this extra shit. They just think it's an Impossible burger, so it's good for me.
Yeah, impossible is correct. It is not possible for you to make a burger as good as what old 100% ground beef would do for you. Ooh. So the big problem they've seen with Impossible burgers is the estrogen content. So the Whopper had an Impossible burger, and I didn't verify this by going to the studies, but I remember it was 44 milligrams of estrogen per Whopper burger. And it was an insane amount of
give
estrogen.
You titties.
Yeah, and as I was looking this stuff up, because we talked about this a little bit earlier before we brought it up on the podcast. And so I looked it up a little bit, and it's funny. You type in Impossible and estrogen to Google, right? The best, Google loves to filter their search results. The first 20 were trying to tell me how the Impossible burger would not make you grow boobs, and how there was no correlation between soy or the, flavones, soy flavones, between feminization in men, between boob growth, between all of these different problems. And I'm here to tell you they're 100% full of fucking shit. There's absolutely problems with soy intake for men. There's absolutely estrogen problems from Impossible burgers, and it is not something you want to talk. Women don't want to take that shit either, because you're just fucking with your hormones. Yeah. Whenever you start adding extra hormones in there, you're just going to start fucking with things you don't want to fuck with.
Your burgers are turning your sons into daughters.
Yeah, it's almost like they're turning the frogs gay.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's Alex Jones. Yeah. Goddamn plastic is turning frogs gay.
It's the atrazine they put in the water.
I don't have the numbers in front of me by any means, but isn't like modern sperm count for males down like 50% or something like that from like the old. I'm talking about the diets.
They've said, sperm count, testosterone levels are dropping every decade.
Yeah, no, the link here is the crappy food is what I'm getting at, and the Impossible burgers and stuff like that. Like, think about even like our generation compared to Brock's generation, just on average. Obviously, it's a weird topic, but like sperm count.
They say by 2045, sperm counts will be zero.
Yeah.
Like 2040, we're 20 years away. I mean, from what they consider sperm counts dropping to essentially a zero, not zero for everybody, obviously, but like an average of zero, where people don't have the motility and like the numbers to get people pregnant. Then you have the Children of Men, movie or whatever it was, where they couldn't even have kids anymore. They have everything's done in a lab, and you have to have like lab made kids at that point in time, because they're going to have to boost your sperm levels and like do it in a petri dish and all these different things. So we'll see what they figure out. But yeah, there's some major issues coming, and it's definitely food related, environment related. We talked about the endocrine disruptors and things like that.
Can you imagine if we did that to our own like species, or we basically just like,
after we've been like watching all this shit, like for years we've had all of these dystopian novels and movies, and like, you're going to ruin the civilization and not be able to impregnate. Sure enough, man, like that's the route we're headed on. So it's amazing.
Well, it's not hard to, it makes sense. I'm sure you know where it's headed. Like, if you get to have 0 children, you can literally genetically modify anybody that's born to look like and be like whatever you want.
You remember the Superman movie, the most recent one, Man of Steel, I think is what it was.
Yeah, it was great.
And they had the codex from
Yeah.
Krypton.
Yeah, and they had like all these babies that they're
All the babies, but they chose what you were going to be
Exactly.
in that, and what like genetically DNA, what it was. You were going to be good at this. You were going to be this job.
I totally hear you. I'm way ahead of you. That's what I'm talking about. Is that like, of course, that's what they would want.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like you can make anything.
Like you want to. How do you want to modify your child? You want your kid? You want the math gene? Let's just change this up a little bit. Your kid's going to be a whiz.
Wonder how many redheads are going to have in the future.
I wonder if there's like a set amount of attributes you can have that you can, like in video games where there's like only so many bars you can go up and down. I wonder if that's actually real. Like if you could only put so many. It's
a good question. It's a good question. Who knows? They're going to start. They've already started genetically modifying humans. If you don't think there's cloning, you're naive. They've, the billionaires that are out there cloning themselves and hoping for their future policies. I'm not saying anything's working. I'm saying they're trying.
They would try. Yes,
they got Dolly the sheep. Like this was like 20 to 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So like they're definitely cloning some humans these days. They're just not telling you about it.
Definitely trying.
I want to know like the crazy shit that comes out in like the next 30 years off of just stuff that they've been doing in the past. That we just haven't known.
My favorite was the Island. You remember the Island with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson?
That island.
Minority
the Island, not the Epstein.
I thought you were talking about a different island.
No, it was a movie called The Island, and it was Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor. And spoiler alert, if you've never seen it, it's a great movie. But you figure out after a while that these are not the original people. They don't know it, but they're clones. And their entire purpose in life is to wait for when their hosts, the humans that they were cloned from, need an organ or something. So they're just there being raised as a farm animal, essentially, for like, this person's going to need a new heart. Ewan McGregor at 70 years old is going to need a new heart. So they grab the one from the 20-year-old guy, kill him, take his heart, stick it in the other real person, and that's the island. Right. And so it's just like they had all these spare parts in these people.
That might be us here.
It's, absolutely. They're talking about growing organs in labs and stuff like that. It'd be so much easier just to grow a person, just chop it out of them, You get all the parts that way.
Yeah, maybe that's what all these UFO things are. They're just coming back to get there.
Who knows? Who knows what they're really, the way I look at it, whenever you see how much money $1 billion is and what they waste their money on, they're wasting it in the real places for sure. The research and development and, how they can make their life longer, better, that kind of thing.
Faster, stronger.
Upload their consciousness to technology and never die, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I haven't decided if uploading your conscious to technology is like super badass or terrifying.
I think it's just like a computer program. I don't think it would be really consciousness.
That's what my thing is like, would I recognize it like now? I don't think it would like have all the same memories and thing, but like this like consciousness here wouldn't like wake up there and
no chance. I don't think that's a possibility. I think they could probably copy your brain at some point in time in the future and create a version of you that seems like it's your consciousness, but the you that is you, you're dead.
All gone.
Yep. It's like that other clone movie, The Sixth Day with Arnold. He figures out he's the clone. It's like he has all the memories.
The Island was better.
He has, it was, but he has all the memories of the real Arnold. But he's not the real Arnold. He pulls his eye down. He sees like which number clone he is.
It was a rough stint for Arnold.
I'll still watch that movie. It's not that bad.
Oh, I'll watch it. But Eraser sucks, dude.
I haven't seen that's fair. Eraser is the one I've seen the least out of all of the Arnold movies I've seen. True Lies is pretty good.
True Lies is amazing.
Yeah. There's some good ones.
That's like his best movie.
True Lies was awesome. Kindergarten Cop might be the best. So.
But
I like it.
It's really good.
They're all fantastic.
Yeah. In conclusion today.
Except for Eraser.
Eraser. I don't we'll just forget that whenever it happens.
Yeah.
In conclusion today, Home Alone comes out as our top
Home Alone's number one.
It's got to be number one. It's got to be number one.
Weed definitely affects your gains, or it can.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah. For sure.
You need to lift at least 2 to 3 days a week for maximal output on your input.
Yeah. ROI.
Yeah, best ROI.
You could go up and maybe get better results, but the return on investment goes down.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
A bad workout is better than no workout at all.
True.
Okay.
Yep.
You can always leave.
Yep.
Impossible meats are impossible.
Yeah.
Impossibly shitty for you.
If it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Unless you're trying to go up a cup size, stay away from the Impossible Whopper.
Yep. Yep. There's some bad news from soy. You don't want soy and estrogen as a man.
You can send the complaints to BROC at NutriAuthority.
Don't forget the K.
These are all opinions, not stated as fact.
Any statements we made are alleged.
Allegedly, there's estrogen in the Whopper.
We do not stand behind anything we just said here in a court of law.
Like, guys, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Or civil law.
This is just a podcast, guys. We're just bullshitting.
I am exercising my First Amendment, whatever is left of it in today's society. Just had to leave those disclaimers there.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a fantastic Black Friday sale. If you missed it, too bad.
Yep.
Maybe
it's over.
Maybe we'll do a sale before the end of the year. Maybe we won't. I don't know. That sounds like a Jared thing.
It is. Yeah, we'll see.
And don't forget to order peppermint mocha.
That's right.
We're not doing it next year, so this is your last chance to get it. It is limited edition.
Yeah,
it literally says it right there on the bottle.
Something different next time.
Yeah, something different. We got something in the works.
Yeah.
Maybe some dill pickle.
That would be so good.
Just kidding. Thank you, guys, for cranking one out with the Nut Club.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Use code Nut Club for 20% off your first purchase with NutriAuthority.
Yep.
That's right.
Exclude stacks.
Yeah, no stacks. Those are already discounted.
See you guys.
Peace out.
Have a good week.
Bye, Richie.